Recording on this computer. Ooh. Hello and welcome everyone. It's Katie here from VibroSound Healing, Australia's first vibroacoustic sound therapy business, helping people relax, retune, rebalance through the power of sound. Today I am joined by the wonderful Luke, who is a prominent sound healer in Perth that I've connected with on the internet, and I felt instantly drawn to his work, to his vibe, and something in the ethers told me that it was important to reach out and drop a line. And now I totally understand why. He has very beautiful perspective of the spiritual side of sound, and also he is a visionary and a dreamer and has the beautiful ideas that are obviously downloaded from a pure space, and he's also really keen to ground them here at this time on Earth. So welcome, Luke.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
So I wanted to this podcast or this episode in amongst this webinar series that I'm creating to give people at home who are hearing about sound therapy, hearing about sound healing and vibroacoustic therapy, a space to engage in a more personal based story led expression. I know that for me, when I first started delving into sound healing or even things like spiritual awakening, you go and I kind of go hard out at consuming as much information as I can about an idea or a new concept. So this is really for people at home who are like, maybe have a remembrance in a deeper sense of using sound in a past life, or just on a really surface level. My auntie went to a sound bath once and said that she cured her anxiety. You know what I mean? There can be very entry level people and also people who are looking at it on a deep level. And I just think, Luke, you would be such an amazing person to explore about sound and share that with people. And I'd love to just, as we get started, for you to explain, where do we start? I was going to say where you started with sound, but that's like could go quite far back expression.
For sure.
Maybe explain what you do and who you are. Yeah.
For sure. Well, firstly, I'm the complete opposite to, I haven't studied sound and I haven't really gone into the nuts and bolts of everything. It has been purely an experiential experience for me since I was a little boy, really, when I first heard music. I remember it just leaving such an impact on me. And it's always been a felt experience. And so as I've gotten older and as I discovered sound healing and the healing capacity of sound and music itself, it just became something that felt like it was awakening inside of me. It felt like I was remembering something, like you said, maybe using it in a past life, or it's something that's always lay in us, and it just takes us to reignite that love, that passion for it again. So I'll go back to recently. It's only really been in the last 3 or 4 years that I have been exploring the healing capacity of sound and using it within ceremony to help hold a space for people to be able to come in and to drop into that deep resonance within their own body. It's people that are coming in that may have taken on distortions or something that makes them feeling a little bit out of alignment, and using sound to bring them back into a state of harmony, of coherence, of health, of wellness, of happiness, of joy. And that's what I've been facilitating for the last few years, and loving every second of it.
That's amazing. I'd love for you to describe. So I think that our sound bars probably look a little different. And I guess for people at home who maybe haven't been to a sound bath, I guess there's so many expressions of what it is. I think with yoga, there's different flavors of hatha, vinyasa, there's all these different styles of yoga. And I think that people, because it is relatively new, like when I started, maybe even not that long ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, in Brisbane, there weren't very many people offering sound baths. And now when I look up practitioners, there's so many more people offering this with bowls or chimes or didge, and everyone has their own unique flavor. For me, I love the crystal bowls because I think that that is my strength in channeling for me, creating a sound bath is using sound as a tool as a current for the energy imprint that I'm channeling to like ride upon. So it's like,
Absolutely.
yeah, you can use sound from a purely physical space and purely a technical space of playing the bowls. But my
Yeah.
whole jam and my teaching philosophy is sound is just the current for which higher consciousness can travel. For me, I
Yeah.
only use crystal bowls in a sound bath, but we actually have my very first vibroacoustic sound bath coming up in 23 days.
Yeah.
April the 29th, if anyone is in the Sunshine Coast, you are more than welcome to come to the vibroacoustic sound bath. But how do you use your sound baths? What does it look like?
Honestly, the way you just described it is exactly the same. I see it as a vehicle. It is a vehicle for an intelligence, for a spirit, for wisdom to be able to travel along, to be able to actually be in contact with the physical world, and to be able to penetrate all of the parts of the physical body and non-physical, but we only ever feel it as being a physical. We get the healing benefits on the aftermath of what it's done to our spirit, what it's done to our emotion. But the physicality of it is sound is able to dance within this realm. And it's that bridge between spirit and the physical. And depending on the intention of how it's played, the intention of the sound itself, because I believe all different instruments, like you said, you just played crystal bowls. I feel like they're one of the highest vibrational sounds that you can play, especially when they're tuned to very specific frequencies, which you'll know a lot about.
And the different crystals as well. Yeah.
Yeah, the energies that then actually use that, it would be almost like the energies that choose the vehicle for channeling higher wisdom. They choose the sound to ride and to be able to physically impact the human body or just physical reality in itself. And with I would say with more indigenous instruments with that have been made in ceremony, things like the yidaki here in Australia, things like the shamanic drums over in the Native Americas, the intention that have been made with that, and they've also been made, some of them with animals who also hold deep wisdom throughout their life. And I feel like even being a vegan myself, like I was always in this conflict of using animals for sound, but it actually carries a spirit in itself, and it actually gives that spirit an opportunity to be able to deliver its wisdom to humanity after its own death. And a lot of those animals were killed in natural ways anyway. Traditionally, they weren't killed just for the instrument. They were either already roadkill, that we would class it as roadkill, or died of natural causes. But yeah, they hold deep wisdom in themselves, especially when they've been designed, because I feel like, for example, the yidaki here, the didgeridoo, that was an imitation of the pulse of the earth, that the earth was giving off this resonance, and the sound of that was helping human beings connect to that deep wisdom of the earth. It was like this circular, and even with the breathing, it's like breathing in this the cosmos and circling it through and getting ourselves into a state where we're fully connected to the divine, fully connected to
Connected
Mother
to earth.
Earth.
That's so funny you say that. In sound baths, people, if you haven't had a sound bath at home, it's pretty trippy and pretty amazing. And the way that I describe it is just that it's the only experience I can have where I feel fully grounded in my body. It's like because you have crystalline structures in your bones, your pineal gland. Um, we use crystalline structures for your computer. The piezoelectric effect is generating the energy, and yeah, so your body feels like it's completely melting into the earth. Simultaneously, your spirit feels like it's soaring up and out. And
Yeah,
it's the strangest sensation of both being very grounded, but it's almost like you're being on a drug. Like I
yeah,
definitely have clients finish. And after I've been channeling the energy and doing the sound, it's very much a different dimensional frequency that you kind of have to come back
absolutely.
from. Not to put anyone off, but also that might be enticing to some people to be able to
Yeah.
experience those high states. In your sound baths, what instruments do you play? You said you play
Uh,
live. Yeah.
yeah, I do. So I play crystal balls myself. I have
Yeah.
a set of the 7 that are tuned at a 432 frequency to each of the energy centers within the body. I also play the Tibetan bowls because they carry a different medicine within the Tibetan bowls. They feel like a very they shake a lot of stuff up. I feel like the crystal bowls are very piercing, they're very high vibrational, whereas the Tibetan bowls are very much like a bulldozer smashing through your house. Yeah, yes. I play the native flute. I also play a native drum. I play chimes, the Koshi wind chimes.
Love the chimes.
Yeah, and my main instrument is my voice.
Yeah.
And that's been something that has developed over time. The more that I've been dropping into ceremony and connecting to the divine in those spaces, the songs that come out are just, they're the thing that
That's the medicine.
I guess that's what I'm known for here. Yeah.
That's the medicine. Isn't it so
Yeah.
funny? I just want to touch on, I love sound because it's the only modality that I've experienced that is both physical, sound is
Yeah.
physical, and also energetic. And it affects, I always say this, sound affects every level of human functioning. And it's such a vast array of applications. So people that come to a sound bath can expect to, or any type of sound healing experience. It's just interesting how this healing modality can, one, if you want to look at it from a purely physical perspective, someone who is a bricklayer in their 50s or 60s, don't really care about spiritual exploration, just has a sore back. Can you put one of those Tibetan bowls on their back, or you put them on the sound lounge, and the physical sound waves separate to the spirit, even though you can't really separate it, but say that it
For sure.
is, will start to release the stagnant energy in their body, release the energy of the cells, and decrease inflammation, increase momentum, and increase range of movement, and decrease pain. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you can have someone to come in and they want a full Kundalini awakening, open up all your energy centers, connect to their psychic abilities to channel their own aspects of consciousness. So I think that's just so amazing that any type of person can come for a session, and you can custom create the type of experience that they want. Do you see people one-on-one for sessions?
I do on occasion.
Yeah.
I have quite a booked out schedule these days, so I find it more accessible to be able to hold space for multiple people, because at the end of the day, it has less to do with me and more to do with the sound, and it doesn't really matter as long as you're opening that beautiful space and holding a strong sacred space. Everybody's going to receive what they need to receive. And like you said, it can be such a diverse audience of somebody that has never experienced anything. They don't believe in any higher power whatsoever. They're just purely based in the physical, and they will receive something because it's undeniable. It does what it needs to do, and they may not be able to understand it or even want to. Whereas somebody else at a different has different perspectives, and they will be able to make of it whatever they will, and it will still give them everything that they need. It's multi-layered, and it can resonate across all dimensions, all timelines. So depending on where you're at, you're always going to receive what is needed from sound.
What do you find most people come to you for? Like, I know that my demographic of my sound baths, but what do most people, are there like a few categories of people that come to see you? Who's coming for your medicines?
Everybody come. It is a broad spectrum of the type of people that come, and they come to me for all sorts of different reasons. My intention for those people has always been the same. It's always been for them to remember. My intention for everybody is I just want people to remember who they are, what they're made of, like what at essence their makeup is. And it's that of the same as the absolute, the creator force of God. And so me having that intention again, no matter where they're at in life, they will have some sort of remembrance, even if it's, oh my gosh, I have a body and I've been so stuck in my head that I didn't even know, like I wasn't paying attention to this body. That's enough for them. They've remembered something, and it just goes through the layers until they finally have that.
Oh,
Okay. Yeah.
damn. A
Oh, damn.
multidimensional being. I love
Yeah.
watching people go through. I guess you have to sit with someone for a while, and everyone's journey is different of awakening and whatever
Yeah.
that means to someone else. But I love it's so funny you say that. That's every single course that I teach about sound. I love to know the science, and I love to explain the physical aspects and which frequencies. But for me, exactly what you said, the reason that I love sound is for the aspect of taking people home, reminding people
Yes.
who they are, where they are from. I always say people are depressed because they don't remember. I'm not going to create a generalized sweeping statement, but at the same time I feel that if people could connect and remember what home is, like I think about my life before I realized I was a multidimensional being, and
Yeah.
I was really, really sad, and I was really lonely, and I was really
Mm.
searching. And I think about now, if I meditate for 20 minutes and I just go home, knock on the door, be like, yo, speak to my people, resonate to that high vibration where it feels light, where I feel expanded, where my
Yeah.
humanly densities, it's like almost projecting up and out of the planet's stratosphere or something. This place is so dense. And I think everyone can
Yes. Yeah.
attest to that now, even people who didn't consciously follow astrology or understand the space weather patterns. And now you hear people being like, well, energies are dense at the moment, aren't they? So I always say,
Yeah.
like, sound for me is a transportation tool, and sound is about heading home and reminding you of your infinite expansive nature. And me 5 years
Yeah.
ago would have heard that and been like, what does she mean? It's just funny to reflect and
Yeah.
remind myself and be like, wow, I've actually come so far. And I attribute that to very hard work and to sound and
Mm.
to energy. So I think if there's anyone that is getting into a space of self inquiry, of reflecting on these, like Instagram's full, that my algorithm is full of people promoting, I guess, new age and those types of concepts, but it really is such a personal journey to finding
Yeah.
yourself. And that can
Absolutely.
be running in the woods, doing ayahuasca, stripping down naked and hugging a tree, or that can be going and doing a vipassana and meditating and not
Yeah.
talking, or that can be breaking up with someone and just finding liberation because you're no longer in the environment that made you feel uncomfortable, made you sick. So
Yeah.
I think, like, whatever your journey it is to find home, there is a
Mm.
space for that in sound. And I think it's the universal language that everybody loves, that
Yeah.
everybody recognizes. And it doesn't even need to be a sound healing track necessarily. Like, you can
No.
listen to Beyonce. People go wild for other styles of music and find
Yeah.
liberation. So that's really cool as well.
Absolutely. I guess all of these things that you very well said, all of these different avenues are all leading back to the truth in some way. And when you touch the truth, the body knows. It feels good. And when we're out of alignment and something is distorted, something's false. And that's
Yeah.
how we know when we're sick. I mean, this is a very bold statement, but I would say that all disease that we experience is due to incoherence in the body, in the
Mm.
mind, and in the spirit.
In the spirit,
It's
yeah.
in a distortion of truth.
Mm.
And all it takes is to bring ourselves back into alignment with the truth of who and what we are.
Mm.
And those things cannot exist in that space. And
It's
that's what sound does.
it's vibrational vortexes. I see it as the greatest
Yeah.
thing that I love about vibrational medicine, moving away from the Newtonian perspective of medicine, which I grew up in and had to experience going through my chronic pain conditions and things like that, teaching that your external influences don't affect your body. Your childhood has nothing to do with why you have a chronic pain disease. All of those
Yeah.
crazy perspectives to this vibrational lens. My favorite part about vibrational medicine is that everything is in flux.
Yeah.
Every little cell is vibrating cymatics. You see, if you change the frequency, the pattern on the Chladni plate changes, or inside the
Yeah.
water. So and I have an amazing friend who had also a chronic pain condition at the same time. I guess we just attracted each other, and she just started telling herself to live from the vibration of a well person, and whether that
Yeah.
well person is like completely in line with spirit and their higher self, but you are stepping out of one vibrational reality and stepping into a whole new vibration where your personality is different, where you behave differently, you speak differently, you eat differently, you dress differently. And
Yeah.
slowly but surely, if you keep choosing to entrain to this being, whilst
Yeah.
also entraining to like the original divine blueprint, which is health and wellness in your field and in
Yeah.
your thoughts are vibrational, your emotions are vibrational. If you're in training to this, like that dude regrew his spine just with his
Yeah.
thoughts. That's my favorite part about vibrational medicine, is because everything is in flux, nothing is solid. So if you keep choosing to solidify your disease, it's going to
Yeah.
keep remaining. And that's a very hard pill
Absolutely.
to swallow as well. Like when I had endo,
Yeah.
if you had have told me that I could think my way out of that excruciating pain, I would have been like, get out of my face. Absolutely
Yeah.
step back. Where's my
Absolutely.
morphine? I'm at, yeah.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
as much as I'm saying it's an easy thing to take one leap from this vibration to this vibration,
Yeah.
it's a little seed to plant of how do my thoughts, my emotions, my experiences lead into this discoherence, and what would a healthy person look like or do?
Yes. Yeah. And absolutely. And it isn't really you can't really take somebody who is feeling pain and suffering and say you just have to jump to this timeline. We can do it in the smallest of steps, and we do
Not
that
if you're an
just through
Aries.
no. We do that through finding joy in whatever we can find joy in, and take these small steps until we keep building and keep taking that road back to truth. Because when we feel good in the body, even just for a split moment, we are resonating with the truth in that moment.
Mm,
And we are all water, and we're
mm,
all these beautiful patterns of divine harmony and divine structure. And whenever we come across any type of distortion within our body, it just creates these little seeds of, I would say, sickness, of disease that can
mm,
grow when we focus on them. Because
mm,
the thoughts in themselves are sounds.
mm,
Everything is
mm,
sound in this
mm,
world, which is why vibroacoustic therapy is so
mm,
important. It's
mm,
to help us, give us a tool to be able to tune us back. We're an instrument.
mm,
It's to tune us back
mm,
into coherence so that we can
mm.
feel, okay, this is what it feels like to be healthy. And we can focus on that. And we can
I
make better
love that.
choices.
That imagery of it can tune us back. I just had a picture of like almost like, you know how you get those docks and you can charge your iPhone on the dock? I feel like the sound
Yeah.
lounge and vibroacoustic therapy, it's like I'm thinking of this image that I saw, that the body is held together by sound, and the absence of some sounds is the indication of disease. So the energy field informs the
Yeah.
physical body. It's the structure and it's the high vibrational subtle energy that gives rise to the formation of the physicality in the body. So your thoughts, vibrations live in your subtle energy body, your emotions,
Yeah.
and if they stagnate for too long, which is suppressed emotions, which is that
Mm,
hard thing that happened to me, but I just moved on with life and I just shoved it into the back of my energy field. When I
yeah.
do clearings on people's energy, every time I look at the back of their field and I literally have to just open the energetic field and funnel the crap out that we've stored there. It's the
Yeah.
self-deprecation thoughts, it's the Instagram and social media vibrations that are active in your energy field. I feel so
Yeah.
passionate about energy hygiene. If you're listening and you are someone, male or female, we all have so many charges and reactive energies that are pressed upon us hundreds of thousands of
Mm,
times in our thoughts of seeing someone wear this or seeing someone do this, especially as a woman, and especially growing up on the Gold Coast. Every time that
yeah.
you see an image and you think a thought, that's creating a charge. And if you imagine it like a
Yeah.
sonar wave going out from your field, and if you don't let it go and correct that thought and correct that little
Yeah.
movement of energy, it sticks. And then if you
Yeah.
continually activate that, every time you see something and you react to it, you're putting out a charge. Soon enough, that's going to crystallize. And because this is the
Yeah.
giant operating thing for the body is then going to start growing these endometrial cells, or these cancers, or these lumps, or these blocks of the hose. So
Yeah.
as much as sound is the sound lounge is a tool to clear it, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I guess I'm just passionate about the fact that people aren't even conscious of why these channels that are invading their space to become discoherent.
Yeah.
The media and the vibrations bombarding your energy is creating discoherence every single day. So even if you think, I'm not sick, I don't have chronic pain, I'm pretty good at meditating, there's always something you can retune in your energy field in your body.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. I like to take everything back to music. And when I'm listening to music, what I really love, especially in piano music, is like, so let's say you have four chords that are playing, and the first two are in perfect harmony, and then you take another chord that just sounds a little bit, it works, but it sounds a little bit off. And what you need for that fourth chord is called the resolve. So you need the resolve to be there for it to actually make sense, for it to come back into coherence. And I feel like we are sheets of music, and what is happening is we're being bombarded by these chords that don't fit, they're not harmonic to our resonance,
or they're not resolving.
And instead of, they're not resolving. And especially when we go through a trauma and we're having this experience, let's class that as the dissonant chord, we're not then focusing on the resolve, or we haven't had that resolve, and we're just focused on this dissonant chord that does not go with our harmonic in the body.
Or we haven't been taught how to end. Like we haven't been taught a 5-to-1 perfect fifth ending.
We haven't been taught music.
That. Yeah, I really like that.
Yeah. Everything in the universe relates to music. That's everything that I see. And when I'm dealing with people who have any issues and they come to me and we're talking, in my mind, you say like I'm visual, I'm always relating it back to music, because that's how I understand things. It's like a lens that I see everything through.
It's a very non-judgmental perspective as well. You're not really labeling things in the human mind if you're just putting a chord to it or a key to that. Like David Gibson, my teacher, always says, like, every single human is just a different note, and like sometimes a C and a C sharp isn't going to sound good together, but in the whole symphony of humanity, it sounds amazing because you haven't tuned into the other elements. So that's really, I really like that as we haven't been taught how to, because how many people are in those negative loop patternings, and myself, of dissonance, and if you haven't been taught how to get out of that. And I guess that's why sound is, I always say, like a meditation cheat. The literal rhythms of the music is taking your brain into a different state of consciousness. The literal firings of your synapses, the dopamine hits that you get, the deepening of the breath as you slow down the rhythm, everything about it is enabling you to experience with very little effort. That's why the sound lounge is so cool, because you can just jump on that thing and be like, great, charge me up.
Well, that is the resolve, that is what takes people out of that dissonant chord and allows them to come back into that coherence, even if it's for a short time. But I feel like the sound lounge, sound healing, that is what it's doing, is people are walking in with chords that don't belong in their symphony of their verse, their unison universe. And they're able to flush them out. When you have a higher frequency chord, it's always going to disintegrate and drown those lower frequency dissonant chords at some point. The energy has to come up to alignment, resonate with the highest frequency eventually. which is why it
And it might
works.
not look like that. Like maybe
No,
also resolution sometimes looks like staying inside for a year and crying and dealing with all your shit. Like maybe it's just like a
absolutely.
super long, I think about my life and there's phases where I'm like, wow, I was really stuck in that dissonant E minor flat 7 for a while.
Yeah,
And now
yeah,
I look back, I'm like, that was actually so, like, you listen to my Piano Jane music. I
I
was
love it.
explaining how
I'm a big
some,
fan.
oh, that's so lovely. I was explaining how, like, some people can be like, wow, this music's really sad. And it is. If you haven't experienced the depths of losing someone, or not even that, just the
Yeah,
depths of pain on this planet, if you haven't experienced that, well done. And how did you make it this far on Earth
yes,
School? And secondly, congratulations. But
yeah,
but the I look back at that music now and I listen to it, and one, it doesn't activate any charge inside my body anymore. So some of those tracks are about losing my mum. I don't
yeah,
react to that emotion anymore because it's no longer active as a dissonant charge in my body. Yet
yes,
now, because it's resolved inside me, I see it with so much beauty. I'm like, whoa, I made that
yeah,
because I was so sad. That is incredible. But for some
yeah,
people that listen to that and they are in the dissonant part of their experience, they can tune in and be held in that like 1 2 minute track
yeah,
and activate the parts themselves that need to be brought to the surface to look at. Like I've had people text me and be like, whoa, I just listened to the one song and I can't listen to any more and I'm just absolutely crying on the floor. So I
yeah,
think that's a really, really, really cool part about sound that hasn't been explored as much. I understand that this
yeah,
modality is new to the surface, and there is a school of thought that really needs to prove its legitimacy in the scientific realm, and I love and adore that. And then there's the next level sound that's like, it's really good for spiritual, but I think there's the next level of sound that hasn't been explored, which is holographically relaying
mm,
a visual and a memory and an expression within the symphony and energetic containing in a recording. It's like
yes,
I recorded my Egyptian alchemy track after a meditation I did with Isis, and I was walking
mm,
in the sand and going into the pyramid, and I had this whole journey, and then I recorded exactly what I saw inside the track that I made. And I think
yeah,
2 or 3 people saw the same thing. So there's something in
yes,
sound that also is like a camera. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like there's something inside sound that is not
yeah,
audio as well. It's the
hmm,
imprinting of the visual that I saw.
yes.
It's a portal.
If you look at plant medicine, for example, there are countless and countless reports of people experiencing the same type of beings, the same places, the same realms that people go to. It's exactly the same thing for me. It's with sound. It can take you to a place within the collective outside of our own little consciousness. And I feel that that would be the same for so many people. And for example, when you are playing one of your songs and it triggers an emotion from an experience that somebody's had in their life, the only thing that is different is the experience itself. The music that resonates with is in each of us. We all share collectively all of these traumas, whether
Mm,
we experience within our lifetime or not.
mm,
And that's why sound can help you tap into that. And
mm,
I can listen to a song where somebody has lost their brother
mm,
and feel their loss of losing a
mm,
brother, even though my
mm,
brother is, thank God, healthy and happy. But
mm,
I feel that for those few
mm.
moments, I know what that's like because
Oh,
somewhere in the collective, we're all feeling that.
that's so
It
beautiful.
ties us all together.
That's so beautiful to think about it from unity consciousness perspective of, and anything that you're kind of, I think about my healing journey. Sometimes the only thing that got me through those crazy times was reminding myself that the integration of these experiences isn't just for me. Like it's for
Yeah.
the human it's for
Yes.
humanity
Yeah.
as well. Like the more that we integrate our shadow, the divine feminine or the dark feminine, and all these
Mm,
archetypal experiences that have happened for eons over not even just human lifetimes, like we won't get into that, but like there's so many collective expressions and traumas that have happened, and
yeah.
we're all walking around with it unbeknownst to us. And every
Yeah.
time that one person is integrating that, they're doing it for everyone.
100%.
I forget about that perspective. Sometimes it's hard to traverse being human girl,
Yeah.
30 years old, and then
Yes.
ancient soul. Like it's very nice to zoom out and have a bigger perspective at times, because it can
Absolutely.
become very mundane if not.
Yeah. It's always good for me to have that in the back of the field there, just reminding me that my perspective is that all of our trauma and all of our suffering that we experience is due to the separation of God between, and the separation from each other, which is ultimately the separation from the creator, whatever that is for you, the universe, the the first word, the first cosmic thought. And we are all processing this state of separation, abandonment, this loss of being disconnected from the universal mind, even if it's just for a few years of a lifetime. It's our abandonment from that. It's our feeling of loss, and we all share that. We are all sharing the same trauma of abandonment.
And then as the resolution to that dissonance, it's actually the greatest gift, because there is no such thing as
Yeah,
disconnection. We chose to
absolutely.
experience this trauma and this abandonment
Yes.
because we have the freedom, because on the other side, we were like, how could we possibly forget who we are? Like, how could we possibly forget? And then we
Yeah,
come here and we're
how's
like,
that? Yeah,
I love that. Like everything is cyclical, and everything has tension and resolution, and everything is above so below, as within so without.
yeah. Everything is so simple and yet just the most complex thing ever.
And that's like music too. Like music is so deeply complex. I think about studying
Yeah.
classical music and the pieces that, like, I had to stop listening to music after music school, because I was just analyzing something that was so
Mm,
simple was so richly complex. And
yeah.
even just the harmonic sequence of sounds, like I love, yeah, the micro and the macro is a trip. And that's why I think like experiencing sound and also understanding it from this mathematical, scientific, intellectual perspective, when you marry the
Yeah.
two, it just creates, it's like watching your favorite TV show and getting really into
Yeah.
the characters, but then also learning about the actors and their life
Yeah.
story and why they chose those roles. And it's this
Yeah.
whole integration that creates just a more profound and deeper experience of it all.
Yeah. I love that.
But anyway, so
I love that.
I would like to hear from you. Sound is a new modality. People out there are getting into utilizing a crystal bowl or going to a drum ceremony, using it with cacao. I understand that the field is fairly unregulated in terms of chiropractors have to do X amount of years, like medicine has to do like 7 years plus.
Yeah.
Where do you see, like, what's your hopes for this new emergence of this ancient knowledge, and how do you hope or envision sound to integrate into Western society?
Sure. I feel like it is already so deeply integrated with it just being everything.
Yeah,
I feel
true.
like it will just be an understanding of how to utilize the what we have, and it's our birthright, how to utilize what we have to for good, for healing and for creating a better experience here on earth. When it comes to, I mean, I get that medical doctors have to study for a certain amount of years to be able to practice and to be able to help people. If we take away all of the structure systems and we just take away all of the rules and just see that we're here on a field of experience, for me personally, the only way that I wish to learn about sound is directly through sound and through my guidance from spirit, however that is. If that takes me to a place where I'm responsible for something happening, I have to take responsibility for that. Like, I have not learned.
What do you mean? If you're
if you
responsible for something
like
happening?
if let's say if you play this sound and somebody throws up,
Oh yeah. I've
you
had that
know, like,
happen.
or something happens, like, I have to take responsibility for this person because they've come to me and I've not known that this sound is going to make them throw up. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, this is how we are supposed to learn.
Mm.
And I don't feel like I'm the type of person that can sit down and study music and study sound. I just don't have
Oh,
that
not
type of
everyone is
mind.
going to be able to, and that's not
Yeah,
everyone's purpose either. Like if you're tapping into
no,
something that's deeply felt, and
yeah,
like I started my business and I remember doing all these courses and all these trainings, and my friend was like, yo, you got to
yeah,
stop studying and you actually just have to start doing. You're just wasting your money. You already know infinitely more than you are even aware of. Because
yes,
at that time I was like, just didn't understand who I was on the other like other realm.
yeah,
And I look back now and it's like, wow, there really is a freedom within sound to be able to claim something and confidently offer it to the world.
yeah,
And I was just getting clients, like I met a man in a cafe and then he was like, what do you do? And I was like, sound healing. And he's like, I need to have sound healing with you. And I was like, great. So I think like
yeah,
what is meant for you on one level will always find you.
yes, yeah,
And there's nothing more amazing than realizing that you don't need a permission slip from okay, on one hand people do need a permission slip in terms of like you kind of got to know what you're doing. I'm not advocating for
yeah,
people just go out and buy bowls and hold huge ceremonies and hold space if you
yeah,
don't know how to do that. There's a
no,
lot to it and there's a lot to learn and there's a lot of trial and error, but there's also a lot of responsibility. But then there's the other side of
yes,
like, don't do so many courses that you be hiding away with your incredible talent and your heart and your knowledge and your
yeah,
wisdom. So yeah, looking back now, I just wrote on my website what I've done. People found me. I didn't need some degree.
yeah.
Obviously, it was written in my path, but yeah, what will find you is meant for you. So how do you see that progressing? Do you see kind of like people at the moment? I know that there was a big awakening of consciousness in 2012, another one in
Mm-hmm.
2016. We're having all of these segmented collectives awakening. Do you just see it that these people are turning online now and the facilitators are stepping into their power, the people, how do you see it all progressing?
I see it all organically progressing, and I see there is a lot of initiation happening through direct communion with spirit, whether that be through plants, through sound, or just through meditation, through prayer. There, I feel like there is an organic process of learning, of being initiated, of taking your time to really learn through experience and build your own confidence and build your own um, toolkit, really. For
Mm,
me, like, I felt so cautious when I started. I feel what might be happening is that people are seeing, oh, this is really cool thing to do. And I can hold space for lots of people and it looks cool on Instagram and I can just go out and I'll just give this a go.
mm,
And unless you have a real authentic calling to it, I feel like those are the ones that will take their time. Those are the
mm,
ones that will feel a little bit insecure about it. They're the
mm,
ones that spirit has built you to a certain place where you will not go further or too fast because you know your place in that
mm,
realm
mm,
and you will be guided and taught every single step of the way. And I
Mm,
think it's only for those that try to fast track the process or try and get to
mm,
the end of something. And I would
mm,
say that generally those aren't necessarily the ones that have a true authentic calling towards it. It's just,
mm.
it's cool, I've seen it and I can do this and it will be really fun to try. And there
And
is no
also that on that, there's also the different, like we're speaking about different tiers and expressions that you can meet something at. There's also the people that are
yeah,
running the sound bath and they're like, this bowl's pink and this bowl's blue, sick. And they're gonna attract the
yeah,
types of people that are like, yo,
yeah,
I just did this thing. So I guess in another
yeah,
flavor, like there's always a vibrational equal resonance
yeah.
reality to meet where what you're doing and where you're at. Like
There's no right or
creation.
wrong.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I love
It
that.
just is. Yeah, it just is. And you will learn, even if you do go out and you hold a huge ceremony and a huge space.
And 10 people
And
throw up and
if there
5
is,
people leave.
yeah, exactly. You will learn, like you will learn from your mistakes. And then you will know in your own body whether you're doing something in integrity or out of integrity.
And people probably won't
Um,
come if you're not doing it. Like people are
that's
pretty
it.
savvy to, yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100%. But at
And
the
I
end of the day, it is sound. It is available to everybody. It is everything. And there should be no holding back. Or if you want to explore that, you explore it, but you do it with a sense of integrity. You do it from a place
personal
of service
connection.
and yeah, and a connection to the sound. You just do it. The body does not lie. You'll know whether you're doing it right or not. You'll know
And
where
sound
it's
is for
coming from.
everyone. It doesn't
Yeah,
know
it
race,
is.
it doesn't know age, it doesn't know
No,
intellect, it doesn't know anything. Every sound is for
no.
every single person. Like yoga's for some people. Yoga ain't for me. And it just ain't for me.
Yeah.
And that is fine. There are things that just aren't for me, but like apart from like food, oxygen, nature, like those things for
Yeah.
everyone. Sound is for everyone.
Yes, absolutely.
I
I
want
feel
I
like
want
we're in a very sensitive world where even if you take yoga, there is a lot of in the yoga industry of these people like judgments that these people should not be teaching yoga unless they've taught for a certain amount of years under a certain lineage and blah 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 blah. At the end of the day, what these people are teaching is a movement of the body. And if somebody can sense to move in their body in that way and using their breath, it's you're just moving your body. It's like,
to get
at the
into
end of the
meditation, to
yeah,
get the
and
stillness at the end.
100%. And even if you were just doing the poses just for exercise or you were
Mm,
doing it because you just wanted to move the blood around your body, it's just movement.
still
There's
great.
no judgment in it.
That's
It's
what I
only us that
say,
make the judgments and
the
write the
rules.
rules. Yeah,
That's what I say about the sound lounge as well. Like people with vibroacoustic therapy, I think the theme of what we're speaking about is you can do anything from several different levels of consciousness and awareness.
absolutely.
And I love the sound, the frequency, because you can watch the Kardashians and have the body pillow on your back and have the frequencies going through and have one at your feet and
Yeah.
literally be retuning your body as you're like smashing a burger and watching TV. And if
Yeah.
that's where you're at and that's what you need because maybe you have chronic pain and that's all that you can possibly handle, like sometimes TV for me is very grounding because
Hmm.
this planet is strange and I find those things so funny and I'm like, whoa. And it makes me feel very
Yes.
human in a job where I am mostly out of planet and out of
I get it.
body. So like
Yeah.
those things can be really grounding. But what I'm saying is the devices and the frequencies, irregardless, they're going into your body, irregardless, they're
Yeah.
increasing circular movement through the body, decreasing inflammation, increasing cellular
Yeah.
rejuvenation. They're doing all these things. And then you can meet it at the next level where you're interested just in meditation and exploring. And then you can, it's so funny. One of my practitioners was like, Katie, when I meditate, I see this like purple eye. What is that? And I was like, oh, snap. So in the training, I didn't actually explain to people the more that you use the sound lounge, the more that you meditate, one, you're shifting your frequency, two, you're clearing traumas, three, you're making way for more light to be a higher light quotient within the spirit and the body, and four,
Yeah.
you're going to start connecting to your psychic gifts. Like if
Yeah.
you are connected in that way. And it was really a reminder and a recall to remind people, because I guess I'm so focused on explaining vibroacoustic therapy to entry level. There's not a huge market where I can explain to people about third eye activations and
Yes.
dimensional exploration. But it was funny just to be like, whoa, it just shows a testament of, if you commit to maintaining a higher frequency, connecting to the truth of reality, connecting to yourself, doors will open and you
Yeah.
will be able to. I was thinking about it before. My manifestation skills, I showed you that meditation that I do of manifestation. My manifestation skills are wicked heightening and
Yeah.
refining, and my mediumship in sessions, I'm more speaking to other aspects of consciousness. But now, like, people's grandparents are coming and like having full-on conversations, and I attribute
Yeah.
that all to using vibroacoustic therapy, using sound, using meditation in
Yeah.
my everyday life. So that's a really cool point to remember, that
Yeah.
once you get better, there's only more to do. Like,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I see it as like a huge, like a fishbowl of water.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that the majority of us have a bowl full of water that's murky and muddy.
Mm-hmm.
And we have a pump in there that naturally just cleanses the water and wants to turn it clean. But because of what it is that we're consuming, whether it be what we're watching, what we're listening to, what we're eating, all of these factors, we're just adding more mud into the water, and it just cannot self-clean properly. So
The
when we
pump is
take
switched
on,
off.
yeah,
It can't
it's still
churn through
going. It's
the,
just that we
it
just
just
keep
can't.
adding more mud into there. So it's just like
Yeah.
it's just like we're not helping our systems clean the water. When we are taking part in vibroacoustic therapy, meditation, when we eat the right foods, when we're doing all of these things, those are natural cleansers. And us being water, we're becoming clear. We are, at the end of the day, these like crystalline waters that are supposed to be fully connected to our intuitive gifts, to our psychic abilities, to whatever it is. And I do feel like everything that we consume is sound in some way, and either we consume the dirty sound or very clean pure sound and flush the system. And when we are flushed and connected, then we can watch a little bit of whatever it is, and that keeps us grounded in here on earth, and we're not making our waters muddy because it just we're so clean, it just cleans out. It's just when we are the majority dirty water and just consuming all of this other mud that we stay in that state, and it keeps us low.
As I'm hearing you say this, I love that. I went straight to the scene of Finding Nemo where they try to escape from the dentist's office. I was visualizing you and I. So we're going to create music for
We are.
the I'm So Excited. I
Me too.
had just a micro download. If someone's listening and they're like, okay, bro, sound is healing, I get it. I think there's so much misconception, or like not even misconception, just lack of available information. And I found this along my studies of what healing frequencies are healing. How long should I be listening to a track? Do I have to listen to it through speakers? Do I have to do this? Like, do I have to like,
can I be wearing a hat, or
yeah, do I stand with my
that
feet
used
on
to
the
be one for
ground?
me.
Really? Can I
Yeah, I
wear
was
a
like,
hat?
if I meditate and I'm wearing a hat, does it
Will
like
the
block
energy,
the
if I do this the whole
yeah,
time, does it go faster? So
yeah,
I just had a quick thought about, like, maybe we could do another podcast webinar
yeah,
and run people through a list of ways that they can easily integrate sound into their life. And maybe you
yeah,
and I, when we were speaking about detox, my very favorite track for detox is a part of the solfeggio frequencies, the
yeah,
741 hertz, and that one I paired with water. And every time I do it, it just, like, I was very skeptical about the solfeggio frequencies, and then I started using them through the lounge for pain relief, for all of the, 852 963, increase your intuition, 417,
yeah,
release guilt and fear, all of those labels. I was like, does this work? And I actually found that they do. And whether that's my
yeah,
intention for them to work or whether they actually work, doesn't matter. The experience is
yeah,
the experience. So maybe you and I could go through and we could create maybe little 10-minute solfeggio tracks, even if we start with like 3 that people can have as like a little download, and you give them a little guide of like, okay, you want to get that pump going in your body, do some light breathing, listen to this every day, do it for 21 days, journal, how do you feel? So would you be interested in doing that?
I would love to do that. You know me, I'm so
Sick.
game for all of this.
And that will give us a very good basis to start. So I think like for people tuning in, and if they want to keep tuning in, the solfeggio frequencies, even the 741 hertz, the 528, and the 174, pain relief, heart expansion, and the detox, that could be something really beautiful that people could tune into the energy, tune into the sound, and that can start getting their connection to that motor running.
Absolutely. And I think we could open it up as well and just ask like what questions that they have around this, so that we can answer some of the questions that are out there that people might be having as well, rather than us just coming up with our own experience.
That's cool. I think people have a lot of questions. I went on a podcast the other night and there was epic questions. They were like, should I listen to one solfeggio at once, or can I mix and match? Like, I think there's really unique questions that I wouldn't even think of, because I'm just me and they're just
any technical scientific questions, they can be directed to you.
And if I don't know, I'll just quickly or I'll just make it up. You won't know the difference.
100%.
Cool. Well, I think that was a really great conversation, and I feel excited that we're going to have another round of this, and we're also going to be making vibroacoustic therapy soundtracks together and collaborating in other ways, which I'm really excited for. If someone's watching this, how can they best connect with you, and what would you recommend that medium be through?
Sure. Probably Instagram is where I do most of my back and forth with people. You can send me a message. You can just follow me over at Luke Kalani over on Instagram.
I'll leave it all in the description for YouTube.
Yeah, cool.
Cool. Well, thank you so much, Luke, for this enlightening and activating conversation about...
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thanks everyone for listening. If you have any questions for our next one, tune in. And as always, if you're interested in sound, I'm more than happy to offer. If you go to our website, you can download a free sound therapy track. I've got about 40 different tracks there at the moment, and I'm working on a whole new series. And if you're interested in vibroacoustic therapy, we have trainings and products. You can schedule a time and we can have a one-on-one chat.
Highly recommended.
Heck yeah. Thanks for your time, everyone, and we'll see you on the next webinar.
Thank you.
Bye.